Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's March 7th, 2019. I'm out in the lower north workshop area, and I've been continuing doing some work on finishing up the internal surface layer of insulation along the north wall and putting more of the horizontal support 2x3s up that will support the vertical studs ultimately, which will support the plywood on that surface as well. But I have made some progress. I've gone ahead and gotten the windows framed on part of the north wall. The east wall, the studs are around the windows for the first layer of framing so far. In this video, when I was putting the insulation up on this wall, remember this is the wall that had all the wiring that I spent one video just showing so much of the wiring, me having to pull it out between the studs. Well, there's also part of the security system that's wired through this northern wall as well. And a couple of the wires were loose there. And one of the rules that I failed to follow when I'm doing work like this is taking a photograph of the wires that, as I pulled this off and set it to this stud, I ultimately knew I'd have to take the wires, disconnect them from the circuit board that's in this control panel, and I should have taken a photograph right off the bat and put it on my phone so I could go back and see the color coding. But I assumed, and I assumed incorrectly, that the wire used to wire up this particular control panel was going to be another typical red, black, green, and yellow security panel 4-wire cable. Well, it wasn't. It was actually a category 6 network cable. So 4 twisted pairs of wires, and 2 whites were used and a red and a green were used. So that made it an orange and a green. So that made it very difficult for me to figure out how to do it. And that actually took me a few hours, because when I was trying to figure out which ones were the data ones, it actually disrupted the system, and therefore I lost a few zones in the system, which meant I had to go back and reprogram the security system, which I don't do this all the time. I do it every couple of years when carbon monoxide monitor needs to be replaced or something like that. But I guess the point that I wanted to make, when you see me pulling off some of this insulation board and you see me take the wires out of this and run it through, it took me a while to figure out how to hook that back up, and that was wasted time and foolishness, me not using my camera, which is in my pocket, the phone. I just could have taken a picture of it at that time. Knock on wood. So anyways, in the video you're going to see me cutting up some of the 2x3s using the compound sliding miter saw to do that work, get those set up around over in the on the eastern wall. Then I come over here and I start installing some of the insulation boards up against this north wall. And one of the things you may be able to see here, there are a couple of Romex wires popping through this stud right here. And through the insulation, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of insulation there, and that goes to an external light fixture that's on either side of this door. And so I want to make as minimal a penetration as possible, despite there being a full 4-inch outlet receptacle there to take the light fixture. One of the things I used was a hole saw to cut the holes in the insulation, but then I filled in the perimeter around the hole where the electrical outlet box actually isn't perfectly, it's more conical than cylindrical, and therefore I needed to fill in insulation around the perimeter of that. And then I used the part that I cut out with the hole saw, trimmed it down a bit to create a thermal barrier that would extend out to the next layer of insulation. So there's a couple of layers of insulation between that electrical outlet, and that's one of the places where it can be a real challenge, there can be a real challenge making sure you've got intact barriers, air barriers, vapor barriers, and certainly thermal barriers as well. So over here, behind me here, There's one more here, and that's where a stud will go. Ultimately, same thing with a big black cable you see on the ground here in the video that goes through that wall, and that's another really heavy gauge. What it is like the Time Warner cable for hooking up your TV service and all that. I still decided to keep that coming to this building in case I ever need that as well. So that's about it. There's going to be GoPro footage showing that the progress that we made through this whole process. A little bit of video, some music with it as well. If you thought the video was value, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when we post more videos. I don't know, are you liking seeing this workshop series, doing the installation? I'm hoping to do more projects along the way and share those. I've had people ask me to show step by step as I'm going through in the past when I was doing the chicken coop, the greenhouse, and those things. So let me know what you think. And by all means, folks, have a super fantastic week. Bye-bye now.